Who is going to help English-speaking people in Quebec? I just received a message on my Facebook account a few weeks ago, and I really believe that this is going to be the issue that I dedicate a lot of time and energy to for the rest of my life. We met someone, Ms. Myson from Montreal, on a rather famous Facebook group. All of her comments, along with my replies, were deleted because this is a very hot topic. I mentioned to Ms. Myson that I was encouraged to hear her comments, and I said, wow, Dee Dee, I think I can work on this the rest of my life. And here's her response. Laugh out loud. Dennis, please don't say the rest of your life. This crime must be resolved today or as close to it as possible. It's gone on long enough. No? Dennis, I grew up in Quebec. I speak 3 languages and have a pretty decent resume up to executive level skills. In the last 25 years in Quebec, I have been unable to find work, except for one 3-year period where I was hired as an administrator and sales and marketing manager. I did just about everything except the books for a French flight simulator manufacturer, and I did exceedingly well, both for myself and especially the company. I introduced, promoted, and sold millions of dollars of flight sims for the company throughout North America. The thing is, the French company that hired me was French from France. The name of the company is, I'll omit that part. I was unfortunately laid off. It's now a one-man show here in Quebec, just the owner, because of the bank fiasco that very much affected the aviation industry. And yet, Dennis, even though I offered to work for free for a month at both federal, provincial, and corporate offices to show them what I could do, not one company would even consider hiring me. The same holds true for most Anglos, ALOs, in the Montreal area. Our federal offices in Montreal and Quebec do not hire us. Forget about provincial offices and their networks, banks, etc., corporations, etc. So Dee Dee Myson has introduced me to a massive problem. English-speaking people in Quebec are obviously being discriminated against when it comes to employment. And this is a very hot topic. I'll finish the rest of her email. Most people I know are working for themselves because there's no choice, or they starve. Management positions for any of our kids, even though they are fluent, educated in French, are out of the question. The truth is skewed beyond belief to suit the sensibilities of the rest of Canada. In other words, our politicians are outright lying. It is ethnic cleansing, no doubt about it. That's why I asked you to speak to your Liberal rep or Conservative or NDP rep and ask him, her, them, how and why this has been and still is allowed to go on in our country. Also, according to our laws, you too must be able to earn a living here. And yet I see you doing the same thing. Too many people do. Apologizing for not speaking French. WTF. It's not a crime not to speak the language, and yet it is presented as such. I repeat, the French language has never ever been in jeopardy, and there was not one English employer that ever abused their francophone staff, and all the other BS that's been bandied about to justify our erasure. Imagine these monkeys are justifying the erasure of our rights, language, culture, etc. I repeat, how on earth has this been allowed to happen here in Canada? Well, in my opinion, Ms. Myson has an extremely good point. Okay, there's one part more to her email. As for the Liberal Party being the best vehicle, well, I've heard that same phrase a million times. And it is patently false, because the Liberal Party has had 30 years to demand this lunacy end, and instead of following the law, they have themselves violated their positions even further. Like I said, I truly believed Iggy would practice what he preached and wrote. Instead, he stabs us in the heart and gives us Lucien Robichaud. So that is Dee Dee Myson's comments to me regarding her situation in Quebec. This is an extremely serious issue, and I believe it can be addressed. I believe it can be addressed through film cooperatives, and organized barter companies, especially in Montreal, but also in Halifax and here in Nova Scotia, and we can turn this thing into something interesting that grabs the attention of all Quebecers and all Canadians, whether they speak French or English.